Hi everyone, welcome to Natural Wonders. Today I've got a really different painting for you to do. It's going to be a really nice seascape. It's all brown colours basically. So what I've got is a pre-stretched triple primed canvas that's dried completely, and then I've gone over it with liquid white everywhere over the canvas, everywhere. So I'll just run the colours across the screen for you all to paint along with us, and let's get stuck into it. To start off with, I'm just going to use some of this light red. I'm just going to load both sides of the brush with some light red, and with that I'm just going to come into the top corner, just up in there, using crisscross strokes, tiny little X's in there, go all the way along. You'll see it diluting slightly and mixing with the liquid white. As soon as that happens, reload again. There we go. I'm going to use crisscross strokes right into that corner there and blend it down slightly. It's a lovely colour, is this light red. It's a Dalerowny colour. It's brilliant. Blend that out nice and soft so it's quite even. You don't want one area darker than the other or anything like that. So just tap into the paint and then over in here. See, I know I want a bit of sun here, so I might just give myself an indication of where that sun's going to go. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. So I'll just blend around with that basically and avoid it. Just down in there. Lots and lots of colour though. I want it to be very strong and intense, this colour. And down here I'll actually mix a tiny bit of crimson into the colour as well. But you notice I've just left this part here completely white for the moment. There. Blend that up into there, so that's a nice even spread of paint that we've got in there. Now the same over this side, just bring it along into there and then blend up to that and leave that little white hole just in there behind it. You'll notice the colour will get slightly lighter as we come down. That's what we want. We want it to be slightly lighter around the sun area, so the more you mix it with the liquid white underneath, the lighter that area around that sun will actually become. There. Now just down into here I'm going to blend some more of this colour, quite a lot of it in, just down here, but I'm going to touch some crimson into this as well, just a small amount of crimson into it as well, just to give it a glow, a nice lovely warm feeling. Blend that so it goes some lovely colour. I want it to come quite low, so now I'll bring it down to about there, I think, all the way along. So I'm just filling in with colour at the moment basically, with the light red with a bit of crimson on it. See that bit of crimson in there, so lovely, it just warms it up beautifully. Now you notice I haven't really gone up into the lighter area as much. What I'm doing, I'm just blending this colour out quite gradual, and then as I come up into here I can blend the colour to that. See, it wants to be a bit darker still, with a bit more colour just in there as well. I'll bring that right to the edge, but that's what gives the contrast to this lighter area for the sun. Just bring that right into the edge. It's going to be quite dark on the edges of it eventually when we finish, is this. It's a bit of an eye maker, but it's well worth it. It's a lot of fun. There. Now a bit of that crimson and red into there as well. Now I don't want it to be quite as dark in here, so I'll let it mix with the white a bit more. in there. And then I want to blend that to this lighter area that's around this sun softly. You get little hairs now and again, just tap them out. There. Getting a nice spread of colour now. So what I want to do is I'm just going to use dark sienna this time, which is much darker colour, and mix it to that same colour. So dark sienna with the light red together, and with that I'm trying to go up into these areas, just up in here, and make it darker, slightly darker. So you start off with this dark sienna colour and you blend it to the other red. See, like so, so that you can't tell where one colour starts and the next colour stops. And then even right across the top of this, I want some of this dark sienna colour right across the top of that and blend it in so it gets darker towards the edge. Take your eye to the lighter area with that then. Exactly what we try to do. A bit darker than that even, especially in the corners. I'm going to use a bit of blacking with this as well. This is just the second tone to what I'm wanting. A bit more of the dark, just up in here. Just allowing that to get lovely and dark. It'll blend and mix with the paint that's already on there, and that's what we want, exactly what we want. But I want it to get darker in these top edges. Right, so that's nice, I'm happy with that now. Now this side needs to be slightly darker than it is. You will use a lot of paint doing this. That's the idea, to get this lovely wonderful effect. You can use clean brushes. If you overdo it and you go too dark somewhere, you keep a clean brush to one side and use it for just gently blending stuff out. See, like that? You can't really go wrong with it. Right, at this stage I just want to get a clean brush, 1 inch. I want to get a little bit of yellow just on the edge of the brush. Tap that colour in there, I don't want it too distinct, too bright. And then in this area I'm just going to use circles and then blend out further and further as I go. You'll pull a tiny bit of that colour in, which is fine, that's not a problem. Back to a clean 1 inch brush I'm going to use, and then just in there and blend that out soft. Sometimes it's nice to actually just blend into it slightly, you know, from different angles. I'll show you that. Just in there, nice and soft. We're going to have the sun behind this. This is not the sun, it's just going to give us a little glow for where the sun is. Is this. So I'm pulling in. I'm not starting in there and pushing out, I'm pulling into it. And all these little rays and stuff will look really nice. But it wants to be sort of round, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just wants to be somewhere near round. Even in there, change the angle. That's good, I'm happy with that. So what I'll do now, I'll get a big brush, big blender brush. And then I'll just go in here, and I'll blend right over that. Just blend right over it softly. There we go. Something like that. Tap out. You can clean up the inside bit if you want, just by touching just a little bit like that with the corner of the brush. I want it to be soft on them edges. Just a little bit of fine touching, that's all. That's good. Now I can blend into that a bit more. Yeah. Dragging the colour over it slightly, just a little bit, without destroying it. That's it. I'm happy. Now with that, I'm just going to come along. I'm going to use my finger. I'm going to get some cadmium yellow just there, and then some titanium white into that yellow. I'm going to swirl it around, and I've got it on my finger like so. Now just in here, I'm just going to make a tiny circle right in the centre. Try and keep it as round as possible. Something about like that. You can use a clean brush. Straight clean brush, and you can gently blend over that. Softly. Now I'll come in again with the same colour tone. The yellow and the white. And I'll go into it again. To make it a tiny bit brighter. There, perfect. That's what we're after. Just leave that for now, that's fine. What I do want to do is use a clean brush. And I can just use that for blending now. Just up in here where it's a bit lighter, where this sun is, and I'm just going to work around the edge of this and just soften that slightly here and there. Very gentle, very subtle. I just want a little tiny glow just behind this sun, you see. It's coming from the sun. It's nice now and again to bring a bit of that colour back into it as well, because I'm going to put a load of like clouds and all sorts of things around that. That's good. Now with this same brush we used for the dark, I'm just going to use now a bit more crimson in with it, and then just over in here I'm going to have that extra bit of crimson, and in here as well slightly. So I just put the colour in first and then just blend it in. Just got a bit more of a crimson hue to it then. That's it. Same in here. I want it to darken this edge off just slightly as well. So it's going to do that for me. Just in there, up to the really dark spot in the sky. It's left a light glow around where the sun area is basically. You can go to a clean big brush for blending and just go into there and make it soft. Nice and soft. Great stuff. Now back to the big 1 inch, and I want to actually now put a bit more dark sienna in with that, and some black this time. So black, dark sienna into that. It's going to be much darker than it was. Right on the top edges. So we're starting this corner with this dark colour, using the crisscross strokes again. I'm going to come along in there and just darken that off. Now basically I want to come all the way along to the top of this with this dark colour, all the way along. And then use the crisscross strokes to make it blend nicely underneath. A bit more of the dark colour just for this corner. Right, now it's just basically down to blending this. So we can actually drag a tiny bit of that colour into this other, just a little bit of it, and then in there we can actually blend underneath that. So you can't see where one colour starts, where the dark colour starts, and light colour finishes. Just blend them two together. Maybe a bit more just up in there. And you come back, use a pretty cleanish brush, and you can blend right into all of that in there. Make it soft as silk. Now that's what I'm after. I want to really make this painting look soft. You will pick up a lot of colour on your brush here at this stage because there's quite a bit on the canvas itself. Don't worry about that. Just make sure you go back into it and flatten it out. But don't come back into your light area now. Only here, because I'm going to want to put a cloud. So I'm using the dark sienna mixed with that black that I put in there. Some more crimson. Quite a bit of crimson actually in with that. And then a bit of the Mars red as well. So we're just going to see what that colour's like, because just up in here we've got a huge cloud. It is a huge cloud just up in here, and it's quite dark and moody, so I need more black to get that moody effect. Yeah, that's better. But I also need quite a lot of crimson as well to give it a really lovely glow. So I'm just putting that dark in there, and as I go along to the left, it's getting closer to the sun and the actual shadows get lighter. That actually goes up quite a bit higher than what I put it there. So we're going to have a big bobble on top first, and then it comes down. I'm going to have a nice one up in there. This is the shadow for these clouds. I'm just tapping it in with this big old brush, and like I said, it's starting to get lighter now in tone because I'm running out of colour, and that's exactly what we're trying to achieve, getting lighter towards this sunlight. And right in here, come a bit lower, and I'm just going to tap a bit of that shadow colour and shadow tone into there as well, but it actually comes right up. Got a few little bits where there's some fluffy clouds under here as well, so we can just touch some of that on there. Down here there's got quite a few little holes in them, so I'll just go like so. I'm just using this big old brush to do this at the moment. It's so easy. I'm just careful where I put the shadows, because I know I want the shadows on there, and you see I went back into dark colour then. So now see how much darker that is. It's too dark now. So I'll just mix that with a bit of this here, and then I can go back into it and it'll be perfect. That's more like it. Nice. And I'm just softening these clouds as I do them. Now I'll start up in here, and I want to actually put a little cloud indication in there as well. Some dark in here for this cloud. Then that comes off quite separate, just like so. That's great. Then there's a bit more darkness in that. Come a bit out there as well. That's it. Happy. Now, just under the horizon area, I'm going to actually put some clouds along the horizon, along the edge of the horizon. Maybe put a few little stringy ones just in there that you can see in the background. Blend them right out. And blend that a bit, soften that. Now I'm just going to get this dark colour, tap into this darker tone again, and I just want it to have a bit more contrast up in here on this dark edge. There we go. Just making it a bit darker just in there. just tap sometimes. Other times you don't have to, you can just move it like I did. Just move it to the side. Creates these little tops to them, little fluffy tops that you get. Little shadow in there as well. That's great, I'm happy. Now with this dark colour, I'm just going to use some of that just along the horizon area. We're going to have a big stringy cloud on the horizon. It's a bit too dark at the moment, so I'm just going to tap away from there and pull some of that paint off. It will mix with the paint on the canvas anyway, so I'm just going to pull that, but I want it to get slightly lighter as it goes this way. Something like so. And then just in there, got some as well. Some of these horizon clouds that are right on the horizon. Slightly darker, but much darker over in this corner, this far corner. There, something like that. That's about where I'm wanting my waterline to go. Put much more of that brown into that as well. Get rid of the lines by blending into it. There. Use a brush on its side sometimes. Just in here though, I want that to blend up. And I don't want it to be sharp on the edge neither, just in there, so I'm going to soften that out. Now I just want to get a bit more dark on the brush because I want this to be a bit darker and come from a bit higher. It's more like it. Soft on the top. Got some little indications of clouds, tops of clouds. So be just a bit lighter than that cloud basically. Just a little bit. And then it wants to be quite dark in here. Now before I go any further, I know that I'm going to have to set my horizon soon. So just with these stringy ones here, I'm going to create a bit of something different going on. Just by pulling across like that. I want it to be slightly lighter just in there, so that's cool. Just underneath them. You can go back to where you put your shadows and you can just go back in slightly, just touch them up if you want. It works. Right, we're at a really good stage with this one. I'm enjoying this a lot. Right, I'm happy. This actually does some sort of like, looks like it might. I have to use a different brush for that. Just pick up a bit of that colour first. I just want to go and bring that down slightly as though there's some shadows in there. As though that cloud just vanishes off behind that. And then when I highlight it I can make a bit more of it then. See, I'm just using the dark from in here and moving it to there. Gives you control, you see, doing that. Something like so. Good. Right then, so I want to actually have a waterline on here. So first of all I'm just going to use this brush we used for the yellow. and I'm going to get a small amount of crimson in with the yellow to give it an orange tinge, like so. Maybe a bit more yellow to that. And with that, I just want to try and see what it's like. Yeah, I want to put a bit in where I see the sunshine straight below it, just in there. I'm going to put some of that colour underneath that, enough so that I can have a little area like so with light in it, this reflecting down into the ocean. That's it. I want it to come out quite far, so what I'll do is I'll just get a small amount of this light red that we started with. I'm not going to get a load of paint, I'm just going to get a small amount of it there. Now I just want to actually use that colour and come in on the edges. See that? Just let that colour start in there and then come into it. It's an important step because it's quite dark is this water, so that means that just at this edge I'm going to be able to have this zing of light, and I'll leave quite a lot of this brown showing, and then we'll have it really dark on the edges, and it'll make this look so much brighter. Same on this side. Start on the, never start there and pull in. You'd always start from the outside and pull in straight. It has to be straight. You have to do this straight. There's no way of getting around it. Otherwise your water looks like it's going to tip out of your painting. There. Bring some of that in. Some of that lovely colour. There. And leave that light on the horizon. Don't kill it. Let me get more of the red, because I want it to be quite dark at first. And leave that light tone area there. Same at this side. Come in, leave that light toned part, and you can just pull into that straight from the sides. Now the idea is to have this colour everywhere. First of all, same on the opposite side. You just paint that in with a paint roller if you want. Get quite a decent amount of colour. Spread it everywhere. And then into this I'm just going to add some crimson, some alizarin crimson into it. And then a bit of crimson into that. Give it a lovely tinge, a lovely warm tinge into there. Again, the crimson and the brown together, pull a little bit of that in, just in there. Now you can actually use a clean brush